Okay, hey everybody, welcome back to the You, Me, and BTC podcast. That's right, we are the You, Me, and BTC podcast. Just want to make sure I get it out there. I know you guys want to jump right on this, get right on the feed, have each new episode downloaded right to your phone, tablet, computer, whatever you use, whatever the kids are doing these days. I'm here with you guys.
Maybe with Black Friday, they got a brand new phone or a brand new tablet or a brand new computer.
Maybe they're smart TV, and you just listen to podcasts. I don't know why, but you might do that.
Yes, I think you're about to introduce me. I am Daniel Brown.
I was about to introduce myself, but this is Daniel Brown, and I am Timothy Baker. And we are 2/3 of the full team again this week. John is...
Well, I think at this point we're more than 2/3. I mean, John's got to show up at once in a while if he wants to get his full third.
So. Here Daniel's claws are coming out now. So we're missing John Stewart today, but I'm sure, as Daniel will tell you at the end of the episode, he's here with us in spirit, or at least in music.
That's right. So probably right now, too. For a few more seconds, we're probably playing his intro music, so there you go.
So yeah, you can always hear John's influence for us. But now you're hearing my influence, which is rambling. So today, we're going to be talking about two countries that are just doing shitty with economics. Like they're really kind of fucking up.
That's about it. End of show. See you next week, guys.
Like there are countries doing it worse than the US, just printing and printing and printing and printing. Because we have guns to make other people take our money. They don't. But
it's actually pretty true.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking, like I said, about those two today. One of them we're going to be talking about Venezuela and their most recent descent into a free fall inflation.
Right.
They seem to do this every couple.
Well, yeah, they do it before. That's what I was just going to say. We've covered this before. It's been going on for a while. All this insane inflation. The estimate for this year was 720% inflation for 2016. So yeah, we've covered it before. But the other one is India, and that's kind of new. The idea that they're trying to go cashless and they're banning currency, and Bitcoin is skyrocketing there. So that's kind of new.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense because when there isn't an opportunity, or you take away the opportunity in some other way in the normal like cash or I guess even just having like a bank account and being able to freely and easily move it around. When you take that away, people are going to go towards
freer money.
Yeah. Which may be anything, may be some kind of alternative cash, but Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, stuff like that has, especially like now that it's an option, now that it's people are able to do it, it's an easy way to jump in and get your money away from, and move your money again where your current system isn't working that well. So,
well, yeah, you get it out of the broken system, and Venezuelan money is worthless. So you want to get out of that system just because of inflation. But the other benefit is you get it out of reach of the government too, because that's what happened here in India. They banned or outlawed 500 and 1,000 rupee bills. Now, I think they had the opportunity to exchange them for other bills by a certain date and stuff. But a bunch of people, they might not have hit the deadline, or they might not have just plain been able to wait in line and exchange their bills. So a bunch of people just had their money vanish overnight, pretty much, And with Bitcoin, that doesn't happen. So that's the other thing. You get it out of the broken system.
Sometimes it does, but not because everyone wants to get rid of cash. Normally it's because someone got hacked. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Bitcoin can disappear if you give it to someone else. But when used correctly, Bitcoin does not just disappear. So yeah, get it away from the government. Get it away from just a broken economy, and you're set for life if you know what you're doing. Maybe. That has yet to be seen. This is not investment advice. But it's doing pretty well. It's, still hovering up there around 730. And actually, that's one of the big points we wanted to hit here with India is the exchange rate for Bitcoin there is up as high as $985 according to CryptoCoinsNews.com. So that's crazy. That's a premium of 35% roughly compared to the market price over here in the States. So, I mean, I guess that's what you were saying too, Tim. That makes sense, right? That it would cost more there because they need it. It's more valuable to them because it gets them out of all this crap, right?
Yeah. If you have, say, anything that people then make illegal or take away as scarcity goes up, then the cost is going to go up. Or because it isn't really
Wait, by that logic, though, shouldn't the rupee be more valuable since they took it away and they made it more scarce?
Well, I imagine
right?
it is. Like, to some extent. Like, having physical cash is. Not necessarily...
Okay.
Not necessarily like a cash value, but the value now of a
500 rupee bill.
500 is
that's actually
probably going up.
That's hard to tell, though, because who's going to accept it? I mean, theoretically, they don't count as money anymore.
No, you're right.
So,
that doesn't make sense.
the government and the banks aren't going to accept it, but maybe the market people still do. Maybe the old guy at the flea market still would accept a 500 rupee bill, and maybe in that scenario it would be more valuable because the people at the flea market are seeing fewer and fewer big rupee bills, and maybe they just trust them because that's what they've always used. And so maybe they trust them just as much, and they don't care what the government says, and they don't care if the banks accept them. So even though they're outlawed, I could still see some people giving them value, right, in certain situations. And yes, in that case, maybe it would be more value now than it was before this all went down.
I'm actually going to jump on the other side of that, because if it's a 500 bill, the reason why it would be more valuable would be for just, what's the word, when something's just like the bills, like the $10 trillion bills,
Zimbabwe.
From Zimbabwe. They're not, well, I guess you could argue that then it's worth more than the Venezuelan one, but I'm not sure how bad India's market is crashing.
Well, here's obviously it's a 500 rupee bill and everyone's going to say it's worth 500 rupees. I'm not saying that those 500 rupees are going to be worth more to certain people. I'm saying that piece of paper might be worth more than 500 rupees to some people. There might be people that will say, listen, these bills are disappearing, and I know there's people that need paper money, so I'm going to give you 550 rupees on your phone for that 500 rupee bill because I know there's people that need paper money. I bet there are. I bet there are people that are unbanked, they live on cash, and they need those big bills, and they might be willing to give up more than 500 rupees worth of goods or goats or milk or salted cheese in exchange for paper as opposed to a bank transfer or something. Right? I mean, don't you think there's going to be people that need paper money? That's just what they live on?
Yeah, but like you said, no one's going to accept it.
No, they are. They are the people that accept it, and their neighbors might also live in the ghetto or whatever.
Go dark or go into the underground.
I guess the black market is the right term for it, but I don't really want to use that term because I'm not talking about drug dealers. I'm talking about the unbanked or just people that live in the ghetto or whatever. I don't know much about Venezuela. I don't know what the ghettos are like. I don't know how big they are. I don't know how many people there are, but I just imagine that there must be areas where people just use paper money and they don't have bank accounts.
India, not Venezuela, but because I was about to say, we definitely know that Venezuela is pretty much an entire ghetto. Like the whole thing is a ghetto right now. But India. I mean, I'm pretty sure India is definitely one of those places where it's like there's shacks next to like six
right.
or like
their
$1 billion
population is
houses.
so high.
Yeah, Yeah, and it's just like the wealth disparity is like real high there.
Right,
So yeah,
right.
you're right. Actually, these would probably go up in value. I'll go back to my original position. I was right.
Yes. I won him over. You saw it here first, guys.
Saw it.
I know
convinced him he was right.
Nobody ever gets convinced and changes their mind on the record, but it just happened because of me.
It's
so
amazing.
You're welcome, general public.
Mark this episode.
151 rum. Oh yeah, we meant to mention that earlier. We did 121 rum, but this is the real one. 151
This is the
rum.
real deal. We add in some kind of other rum and pineapple juice, I think. I don't know.
All right, Tim's trying to give out cocktail recipes over here.
Yeah, no, it's good. Just vodka and water.
Well, here's a little bit more on India. So, I'm changing the subject from Tim's fantastic cocktail recipe there. So this is cool. I remember seeing a few random things on Twitter about India and related to Bitcoin and currency and all that stuff, because that's the kind of stuff I follow on Twitter. And I thought it was interesting. Okay, something's going down in India. But then I also happened to notice on our analytics for our website, our data, I noticed that India is our number 2 country right now. So over the past month or so, after the U.S., the greatest portion of our website's visitors were from India after the U.S. And that prompted me even more to be like, I got to click on a few of these links and see what's going on in India. And so that's where we are today. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. So if anyone out there is from India tuning in because of the currency crisis, well, thanks for doing that, and leave us a comment. Tell us what all is going down over there. What are you doing with your cash? What do people think about cash? Do they still have it? What do they think about Bitcoin? Are more and more people using it? Let us know. Drop a comment on the website, or who knows, if you're listening on YouTube or whatever. We'd love to hear some details from the firsthand.
We'd love to hear details,
so.
And we would also love to hear people just flat out lie to us and tell us that you heard about Bitcoin through us, and then this led you to having more money than everyone else around you. And if you're from India, though, specifically.
I mean, I'm not trying to joke here, but that seems possible, right? I mean, maybe they did hear about Bitcoin from us, and maybe they did get their hands on it a few months ago instead of a few days ago, and maybe they are way richer over there because of it.
Yeah,
I don't think that's out of the question.
I'm putting out a blanket term just to try to get someone who has an extra 5 minutes in their day to just make me feel better about myself.
Well, the other benefit is that we have no way of verifying where our commenters are from. So pretty much anyone could just jump on there and say, "Oh yeah, I am from India. I like the Bitcoin, yeah." And then we'll have an Indian listener who got filthy rich off of Bitcoin. So it doesn't really matter what the truth is on the internet. So, speaking of all this fake news crap, so it's all because of us. I'm sorry.
Everything.
All right, you want to hit some of this Venezuelan stuff, Tim? What even is? I mean, obviously we've talked about their currency falling apart, but some of these, there were some crazy stories about what actually is happening over there. I guess we have some more details about firsthand stories than we do in India. So what are the stories there, Tim? What's going on in Venezuela with the cash?
Well, the big story they're putting out, which some of the websites are very quick to point out that it's not ubiquitous, it's not happening just in every single shop.
Oh yeah.
But some shops are now weighing their currency versus counting them. So, but don't worry, it's not happening everywhere. It's just most of them are weighing their money.
There's a quote somewhere in here. The story I'm looking at now is from independent.co.uk. And one of the quotes in here says that it suggests runaway inflation. So you never know, but if people are weighing their wads and wads of cash, there could possibly maybe be a little bit of inflation. It kind of suggests that, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit. And, well, besides that, and just that we know that this has happened before, so everyone's
Has it happened in Venezuela specifically, or are we just talking about currencies in general. I mean, obviously it's happened in Zimbabwe. That's the classic example. Has this happened in Venezuela?
I'm pretty sure it has, yeah. I don't know. It's just more recent stuff. Never mind, forget what I said. If it did, well, you know what? I will just say that Venezuela's had multiple, just pretty much every single day their currency falls apart and they make a new one. So, but no, Venezuela's having this issue and people are obviously already responding like this, but also kind of what adds to things being kind of scary for everybody and just the general panic is that Venezuela doesn't put out any kind of report on their currency.
Oh yeah,
so all the people, nobody actually knows how bad it is. Everyone's just like, it has to be really bad.
Well, yeah. This is something that I think we've touched on the show before. I couldn't say for certain, but yeah, they have had the government publishes rates that are different than the black market by multiple hundreds of percent. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but the government says a strong bolivar is worth, let's say, $10 US. And the black market says a strong bolivar is only worth, I did that backwards. The government says that they'll give you 10 bolivars for $1. Whereas the black market says we'll give you something like 30 bolivars for $1. Those are just complete guess numbers, but you get the idea. The government is lying to the people, and and nobody questions it. It's just a fact. They publish different rates that work in their favor. I mean, that's just what they're doing. They'll admit it to you, I'm sure. So it makes it tough for the public to get by. It really messes with imports because people don't want to send stuff to Venezuela because they have to use the official government exchange rates, which aren't as good. And so, no, I'm not going to send toilet paper to Venezuela because I'm not going to get as much money for it as I really should. And so that's the other thing that people have talked about a ton over the past year or two is how you can't even get a toothbrush in Venezuela because nobody wants to send goods there. And so they don't.
Yeah,
it's cheaper to wipe with cash.
Yeah, no, it definitely is at this point. But I remember this happened back in 2014, so it's only 2 years. But I thought of the story whenever you said something about, I don't know, something reminded me of it. But I think we even covered it, but it was, not covered it. We didn't really cover it. It was more just like mentioned it and made fun of it.
Oh, no, it's firsthand, on the ground journalism every time.
It was that the prostitutes in Venezuela are making more money selling dollars to people, like letting people exchange with like an actual rate than they were having sex. So that kind of, again, has something to tell you about where the currency is and where it's going and just, they kind of had lockdown of it.
Yeah. I don't remember ever mentioning that on the show, but I could see it. I mean, that's a prostitute is, I don't know the actual laws in Venezuela, but there's probably some kind of underground, happenings there that the prostitutes are involved in. And coincidentally, they're also probably involved in black market currency exchange. So yeah, during the day, I could easily see those people saying, well, I got some free time on my hands. I'll go trade some bolivars and dollars and try to make some extra dough. And yeah, I'm sure they did quite well. So yeah, I could absolutely see that.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously this is a problem for everybody. And just like in India, people are starting to look more towards Bitcoin because, like what we said, they're kind of just running out of money at this point.
Oh yeah,
because
that's exactly what it is.
Much. So if you can get it into Bitcoin, and you're like, well, I don't even know if they're gonna. It's not that they're like, I might not be able to get any kind of money in a couple days or something like that.
Right. That's almost exactly what we talked about with Zimbabwe again, just 2 weeks ago, episode 149. And it was just that. They don't have their own cash, so they cannot keep printing it like Venezuela is. or they can't, recall it like India is doing. And so Zimbabwe is having serious trouble because they literally are just plain out of money. They can't keep printing it. They can't recall it. They're just plain out of money. And that's what's starting to happen in Venezuela. They are continuing to print it, but because the supply increases and increases and increases, people are starting to realize, well, this is BS. This doesn't have any value. They can just make more, and they're going to continue making more. I mean, I know it. Nobody questions that. And so it is losing so much value so fast that, okay, so they're not out of cash. Cash is everywhere. They're printing more and more, but they are out of money. They are out of value because what cash they do have is starting to be seen as worthless, as well it should be. And so they're out of money. They're out of value, out of real value. And so, yeah, then that's when you turn to Bitcoin, if you have any sense.
Yeah, Bitcoin or gold or silver, anything that's really going to hold the value. But I'm guessing they probably have some controls on that too, just for exchange, because they don't want you to be able to exchange your money out of the system. Right. So something like Bitcoin, where you don't necessarily have to go to the licensed seller. I'm sure you could buy stuff like off of somebody else, but again, that's a little bit, it's more dangerous than, okay, I'll use the internet.
Yeah. I mean, I know for sure that they have, in Venezuela, they like monitor your luggage, so you can't bring in too much toilet paper. Literally, like, they won't let you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's similar idea with gold and silver and anything else that's legit. Yeah, they'll let you wear a bracelet or a necklace in, whatever, but they're not going to let you ship in, gold bullion, ingots of gold or whatever. So they're controlling it. End of story.
Yeah, because I'm sure, anything like this that's, like, I guess anything physical you could put your money into, you can then use it. Like they make the mention about the cigarettes going from 250 bolivars to 2,000. But at the same time, you still then have to go back into bolivars. So kind of skip that, go to Bitcoin. And I guess it depends on if you'd find a lot of other people to take Bitcoin. So I'm sure a lot of people did buy cigarettes too, or just like trading with those.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I meant to bring that up earlier. Apparently, that's one of the most valuable goods in Venezuela right now. They went from, I don't see the actual numbers, but something like 250 to 2,000 bolivars for a pack of cigarettes, which, I enjoy a good smoke now and then. And if I was kind of living like a bum and, running short on cash, I wouldn't mind having a good cigarette to distract me. I'd pay a good amount for that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And what they're doing with ATMs is interesting too, because they're kind of just like, we'll fill like certain ones every couple hours. Was it like?
Yeah, they said
every 3 hours. Is that's not like every ATM? It's just, is it kind of just a random thing?
Well, I'm sure it's just up to the operator. If the operator has enough money and enough time to keep refilling it multiple times per day, then I'm sure he will. But yeah, that's...
Oh, okay. I was mistaken. I thought like they were only refilling it but no, it's like they have to refill it every 3 hours.
Oh yeah, because it runs out.
Yeah,
right,
yeah, no,
right.
That makes sense. Okay. I'm stupid, but
well, yeah, oh geez, I gotta find the numbers in this article again, but it was something like if you try to withdraw the equivalent of €5 from an ATM, then you end up with a fistful of more than 100 bills. So €5 is gonna, give you a whole handful of cash. So yeah, so they run out.
Yeah, it makes sense. But then their idea of how to fix that, like, other people may be doing whatever. They might be buying cigarettes, might be buying gold, might be buying Bitcoin. But the official answer to the whole thing is
bigger bills.
Just make bigger bills. So $10 trillion bills will become.
Oh, no, not yet. Not yet. Right now,
No,
the notes
eventually.
are reportedly set to start at 500 bolivars and reach 20,000 bolivars. So not quite at $1 trillion bills yet. We'll get there one of these days. See, that's the thing. 20,000 bolivars is worth just over €8. So even once they hit the maximum size bill that they're planning at the moment, even once they release that, it's only worth about €8 and probably less by the time they get there. So imagine that. Imagine if, we're American, so we're talking dollars. Imagine if the biggest bill we had was a $10 bill. It wouldn't be deadly. I mean, most people only carry 20s anyway. But still, imagine if your wallet was twice as fat every day. Actually, I guess maybe that'd be seen as a good thing. So, but yeah, so it'd be tough. Especially, most people only carry 20s, but they go up to 100. So, and people do use and need $100 bills for certain things. And if you only had 10s, that just mean you'd need a much bigger briefcase to buy some drugs.
You just have to pay in pennies.
Yeah. Pay in nickels, so then they're worth more.
Yeah, no, they keep the metal.
Hi, have you heard about Bitcoin? Not Bitcoin, but Bipcoin. Bravo, India, Papa, Coin. Bipcoin is a new cryptocurrency that you can start mining today for free on ordinary computers. Unlike most altcoins, Bipcoin is not a clone of Bitcoin. Bipcoin is based on entirely new, more recent, and better code called CryptoNote. So unlike Bitcoin, Bipcoin has truly untraceable transactions, and we're working on adding distributed DNS functionality to Bipcoin. We're calling this .bip, and it will provide uncensorable domain names in an easy-to-use interface. Unlike previous systems attempting this, .bip will be simple for both a website owner and for people viewing websites. This will get it the worldwide adoption we need to keep speech free, and cyber squatting will not be a problem. Please help out with a donation or just share this with your friends. If you can't chip in some cash or Bitcoin to save free speech around the world, because there are incoming regimes that hate honest criticism. Go to bipcoin.org. Once again, that's Bravo, India, Papa, coin.org.
Okay, Daniel, which one would you rather live in? Like, which one of these scares you more, or would you rather, which one seems more, like, do you have a stash of cigarettes someplace that you're like, yeah, I could make some money off of this?
All right, so are we talking Venezuela versus India? Are we including Zimbabwe in here?
I mean, I guess you can. I don't really know what their situation's like right now.
I'll start by saying that, again, I haven't been to any of these places. I don't know the details about what goes on there, who lives there, or what the money's like, what kind of jobs there are. I don't know much of crap about any of these places. But based on what we've talked about over today and the past few episodes, I absolutely, positively appreciate the fact that Zimbabwe does not have their own currency. I know it makes it harder for the government to survive, but that's exactly why I love it, because they don't have their own currency. They can't just keep printing money. So philosophically, I would say that's my favorite. That seems to make the most sense. Like, well, why would I just make money out of thin air? No, that's dumb. I'm not going to. And so I like that aspect of Zimbabwe right now. And I like the idea that, as we talked about in 149, they're considering using Bitcoin as one of their official currencies. It's just kind of a fringe idea, but you never know. It could happen. And I love that. Which nobody's heard any of that out of out of Venezuela or India, because they can just use their own money and keep printing more. So they don't want to use Bitcoin. So there's that. I guess if out of the three, Zimbabwe would probably be my favorite. But if we cut Zimbabwe out, all right, so that brings us to India, where they are recalling cash, or Venezuela, where they just keep printing more and more and more. I guess I would say I would prefer Venezuela, because if they're going to recall my cash, I'm screwed. It doesn't matter. They're going to take my cash. I guess I guess in either situation, if you own goods instead of cash, then you're kind of in the clear. Like in India, if you just buy a bunch of cars, or a bunch of washing machines and keep them in the box, you're clear. They're not going to withdraw your cash because you don't have any. All you have is washing machines. And it's the same way. It's the same way.
I'm just imagining that.
Well, it's the same thing in Venezuela. I mean, your washing machines are going to gain value, not lose value. So both ways you're kind of in the clear if you just avoid cash. And I guess that's the answer. So I don't really care for either one. I'm just not going to use cash. And in either country, I'm just going to use Bitcoin, right? I'll take cash only if I can be sure that within the day I'll be able to deposit it into Bitcoin and keep it safe. I mean, if I have to work at a flea market and sell salted cheese, I'll do that and I'll accept cash for it if I know that I can secure that cash's value into Bitcoin by the end of the day. And so actually, I don't think it really matters which country you're in. I think it works the same both ways. Just don't use the currency. Avoid it at all costs, right? Does that make sense? Do you have a preference?
I'd say I'd probably have to go with Venezuela too, just because India and what they're doing in India and what this guy is that probably scares me as the most likely thing to happen. Like that's what versus like there being a bank run or something like that where it's like stock markets crash or stuff like that. Them just outlawing cash, because it makes complete sense to me from their side of the coin. Like, why would we not want to be able to see everything? So taking away in that kind of thinking, I'm like, no, this is a lot more insidious than, It's fucked up what they're doing in Venezuela, but they're just like, no, it works. We just need to keep on putting money into it. So at least they have like,
so in India, one of the terms used here was shock and awe in this independent article. Well, no, in the Crypto Coins news article, they talked about shock and awe in India. And that's what they did. They made this law withdrawing these bills overnight. All right. It came out of the blue. All of a sudden, the 500 and 1,000 rupee bills are just illegal or not. You got to exchange them, whatever. That's dangerous because it could happen again tomorrow or the next day or the next day. And you want to avoid, like you said, it's malicious, it's insidious, or I don't remember the exact term you used, but that sucks, and that could really screw you over. So yeah, I would agree that is worse than in, say, Venezuela, where it's an ongoing, it sucks as well. Yeah, they're screwing you over and reducing your money's value, but at least it's been going on for a couple of years, and you know it's going to continue, and you expect your money to lose value, instead of constantly worrying, holy crap, tomorrow they might take away all my money out just because. You're not really worried about that as much. And then, obviously the whole cashless thing itself has to do with, in India, it has to do with them wanting to just watch everything, and that's obviously dangerous too. And that doesn't quite happen as much in Venezuela, I wouldn't imagine. So, yeah, I think I'll agree with you there.
Yeah, like I was saying, I think India, the whole idea of it's more dangerous. The whole idea of it just scares me a little bit more than old run-of-the-mill, let's just print more money.
Right. Yeah, so here's the thing, Tim. I'm showing about 38 minutes, probably a little less with a bit of cutting in there. I think it would be a bit of a statement if we kept this short, right? If we keep it short, end it. It basically says, listen, there's not much to say about this. It sucks. They're screwing people over. They've been doing it forever, just like every government. What more do you want from us? The show's over. It sucks. All right, does that seem right? So should we make a statement and keep this episode a little shorter than usual? Should we burn through advice of the week and wrap up for today?
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
People suck.
So I'm ready. My advice is easy. I'm going to get it out of the way. Don't use cash. Just like I said, in India, they can steal it from you. In Venezuela, they can devalue it every day, all day, every day. All right, don't use cash. Use something that is provably scarce and valuable. Use Bitcoin. That's it. No, That simple. Another thing that's short. Just use Bitcoin. That's my advice. End of story. Anything else, Tim?
No, I'll just what Daniel said. Don't some people suck. Try to get your money away from other people and control it yourself, because it doesn't matter who, there's probably someone in the line that sucks.
There you go. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for being here. And like we said at the beginning, Jon Stewart is with us in music. So enjoy this sweet tune we got going for you right now. Come back next Thursday. And in the meantime, all of our content, all of our past episodes about Zimbabwe or whatever are available at you, me, and btc.com. And if you're from India, or if you're from somewhere else and you just want to pretend you're from India, leave us a comment on YouTube or on the website or on Spreaker or wherever you're tuning in. We also have SoundCloud now as of a few weeks ago. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next Thursday. Once again, it's a statement. Money sucks. Use Bitcoin instead. Peace.
Bye-bye, guys. You don't suck.